Photographers or aspiring photographers, are you struggling to figure out where to start with your photography business? Does the idea of starting a photography business overwhelm you, even though you love photography and you have a passion for it? Well, in my 15 years of running a photography business, I've figured out a couple of things. In this video, I'm explaining the top 5 things to avoid when you're starting a photography business. Number 1, over investing in gear too soon. Now, I know that a lot of photographers love them some gear, but the biggest mistake that you don't want to make is to spend all your money on gear that maybe you don't even use, and maybe, just maybe, you can't afford just yet. So the best thing you can do is to start simple. Start with one lens, with one camera, because those are the essentials of what you need. And from there, you can start building your collection. So don't go running out and spending thousands of dollars that maybe you don't have, hoping that like, oh yes, I'll catch back up to my purchases with my business, because you don't know that. So let's start on the positive side with your camera and your lens. And if you're trying to figure out what lens you should start with, I highly recommend starting with a 50mm. Cover all your bases for portraits, for products, for weddings, for all the things in between. It's a great all-purpose lens, and it's not expensive, and it's a great starter lens. Number 2 mistake to avoid is kind of ignoring the whole business side of things. Yes, this is a photography business, so we should run it like a business. And at the bare minimum, I recommend opening a business bank account so that you can receive whatever income you make from your business. You can pay for your expenses that are for your business out of that account. Be sure to check with your local area, with your state, to see what like the rules and regulations are as far as starting a business. And sometimes it can be as simple as going to the county and filing some paperwork, and then taking that paperwork and opening a business bank account. But because it's different for everywhere, be sure to check your local area. Number 3 is underpricing your services. Now, we all start somewhere, and once you get into the photography industry, you're gonna see that there is pricing all across the spectrum. Now, what you don't wanna do when you're first starting out is go too low. But on the other hand, you also don't wanna go too high. What I would recommend is kind of to take a look at your expenses, which at this point are probably pretty low. You're probably paying for, if you're starting a photography business, then you might have a website with a fee, you might have a gallery platform with a fee. I mean, those are like the bare bones. Like if you're paying for your camera or your lens or something like that, those would be some other considerations to take into account. But in order to kind of build your step-by-step pricing to move up from, maybe your very first shoot for like $50. I know that was the price I charged when I first started out. And now 15 years later, I'm charging 4 figures for my branding photo shoots. But anyway, you want to make sure that your pricing covers your expenses so that you're not working for free. I think that's the fastest path to burnout, is when you feel like you're doing all this work, you're shooting all these shoots, and then you have nothing to show for it. So in another video, I will show you the step-by-step for how to build profitable pricing every time, no matter what stage of business you're in. Number 4 mistake that I see new photographers who tend to make that you should definitely avoid is to avoid relying only on social media as your marketing platform. Here's why. I don't know if you remember, there's been a couple of instances where Instagram and Facebook, aka Meta, has gone down, where they lost service. Whatever happened to them, and you didn't have access to your Instagram page, you didn't have access to your Facebook page. And if you are only building an audience in those places, if Meta decides to flip the switch and turn it off, all of your leads and potential customers are basically gone. What should you do instead? Well, you should have a website. So I highly recommend having a website, and having an email address so that you can take your conversations out of the DMs, out of Facebook messages, and into email where you can actually keep track of your clients and customers. Eventually, when you get to this point, you can start using a CRM, which is a customer relationship manager, such as Honeybook or Dubsado or 17 Hats or Sprout Studio. There's a bunch of them out there. And when you get a little bit more advanced and you're ready for email marketing, that is a great place to have your customer list growing and building as time goes by, so that you can update them on whatever you're doing in your business. If you have a promotion, if you're doing a sale, if you're doing whatever the case it is, email marketing is the best place to build your audience, not social media. And number 5 is ignoring or neglecting your branding and marketing. Now, don't fall into the trap of if I build it, they will come, because that is a myth. And sure, it may work for a little while, but if you are looking for long-term sustainability in your business, you plan to be around for the long haul, then you need to have a marketing plan in place. You need to start building your brand and gain a good reputation with your clients so that they can refer you to their friends, their family, and you can build your business that way. I see a lot of newer photographers who struggle with the business side of starting a photography business. Now they got the photography side down on lock, or they love gear, or they're just like super passionate about photography, but maybe, just maybe, the business side is a lot more difficult for them. It's like confusing or overwhelming, or you just don't want to do it wrong. I know when I started out in business, I had no idea what I was doing, and you don't want to do things incorrectly, or you don't want to do it wrong and it have like a major consequence, right? If you're ready to get your photography business started on the right foot, I have a free checklist for you, totally free, that's going to give you the rundown of all the things that you should be thinking about when you're starting your photography business, from the legal side to the business side and to the gear side. And stay tuned for more videos of getting your photography business started.